Let's see.
Morning, Rabbi.
Hi, Jaime. How you doing? Okay, you got home from the wedding?
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. Very nice.
Good. Today is day 96. Day 96. Be following and say. Whenever you're ready, Jaime.
Ready, Rabbi.
Okay, Rabotai, Boker Oru Mevorach. We are studying Bekiim Bahalacha, the Viko Mizrahi edition. Chaim ben Mazal Rufu'ato Shelema. And we are at the Danya Ko'el Alav Shalom edition of Bekiim Bahalacha, volume 5. Today we're learning day 96. We're on page 260 in the Sefer. We're here in our studios in Surfside, Florida, with our great Rabbi Elmaleh and the beautiful congregation that we love. And they're very, very hospitable to us, and they allow us to give these shi'urim. We're very grateful. And to all the regulars that pray in the minyan, they become extended family of Bekiim Bahalacha as well. So we're over here in a little technical stuff this morning. I'll try to make it as easy as possible. Let's go review. The Gemara in Berachot has a big subject. The subject is called Hazmana. The Gemara questions, Hazmana milta or Hazmana lav milta? What's Hazmana? Well, when you designate something. So let's say you take the kuracha and you designate it. In those days, they didn't have kurachas like we have that says on a tefillin. They had a regular cloth. The old timers, they didn't make kurachas. They took a piece of cloth and they said, this cloth I'm going to use now for my tefillin. That's called hazmana. The question is hazmana anything? Even if he picked it up, even if he said it verbally, Hareni mekadesh et kuracha hazot Hashem tefillin. Doesn't do anything. The Gemara says very clearly, hazmana lav milta. Hazmana doesn't count unless you do an action that follows the hazmana. So, for example, the Gemara says, Hizmin or azman vetzarbe. Maze vetzarbe. He actually took the tefillin and he put it in the kuracha. So now we did two things. Hizmin vetzarbe. Now what happens at that point? Once you do both, now it's sanctified. So, for example, we learned in yesterday's halacha, if you consecrate a kuracha for tefillin of Rabbeinu Tam, let's say, for those that wear Rabbeinu Tam, by now most of our members are wearing Rabbeinu Tam. We learned the importance of it. So now the kedusha of Rabbeinu Tam tefillin is higher than the kedusha of tefillin of Rashi. That's what the Mekubalim say. The Ben Ish Chai writes that in Od Yosef Chai. That's why those that wear two tefillin, Rabbeinu Tam is higher. Even on the yad, the Rabbeinu Tam is higher. Now, Halakha says, if you have, let's say, a tefillin bag of the Rabbeinu Tam, that bag is sanctified. And let's say you said, Reni mekadesh et kuracha ze l'shem mitzvat Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. Ze azmene. Azmene, lav milta. Now, if you want to change your mind, you want to use it for Rashi, or you want to put money in it, it's okay. Because hazmana, lav milta. So even though you designated it, it's not going to lock it. It's not going to lock it in as kuracha of Rabbeinu Tam. You still have the ability to change. You're flexible. However, once you take it to Rabbeinu Tam and you put it in the kuracha, now it's not only azmene, it's azmene v'tzarbe. Finished. You locked. The rate is locked in now. Now you can't back out. Now, once it's made for the Rabbeinu Tam, you're not allowed to put Rashi in that kuracha because Rashi's lower. Therefore, you cannot now take something of a higher level of kedusha. Just like you would not be allowed to put a mezuzah in any kuracha, not Rashi and not the Rabbeinu Tam. Why? A mezuzah is lower than tefillin. The case that you know, which you will all agree, can I take my kuracha, whatever one, Rashi, the Rabbeinu Tam, I put money in it? Of course not. You're turning your kuracha into a piggy bank. It's kodesh and azmeneh and vetzarbe. So that's what we learned yesterday. However, if you just azmeneh velo tzarbe or tzarbe velo azmeneh, that's the reverse case. That guy took a bag, He put his tefillin in there. Tzarbe. He put his tefillin, but he never made a verbal declaration. He never said what he's using the bag for. So until he declares what he's using it for, he can still change. And therefore, he can put money in it if he wants to change. He's not going to put money when the tefillin is in there. But he could change his idea. Take the tefillin out. I want to use it for something that's whole. That's permissible. Okay, that's what we learned in yesterday's derash. Beautiful. Now that was the Ben Ish Chai's opinion, by the way. Ben Ish Chai held that it's only forbidden to put Rashi tefillin in Rabbeinu Tam kuracha, but he allowed to put Rabbeinu Tam in Rashi. Why? Because it's higher. So therefore, if the kuracha has kedusha of Rashi, so certainly it can have a higher kedusha. You can't lower, but I could elevate. Hacham Ovadia Alav Hashem argued. I'm reviewing yesterday's shiur. Hacham Ovadia argued. Why? The Ben Ish Chai and Hacham Ovadia have a big argument the way to look at tefillin. This is a big mahloket really between the Mekubalim and the Talmudim, the Pashtanim. Let's learn the way the Pashtanim learn, the way the Gemara learns, the way Harambam learns, the way Shulchan Aruch learns, the way the majority of the people see it, and the way we saw it until we got older. We always understood there's tefillin of Rashi, there's tefillin of Rabbeinu Tam. One of them is right, one of them is wrong. You can't have two tefillin that are right. We don't know which one is right. So therefore, Shulchan Aruch said, you know what? Yireh Shamayim, Mish Mefursam B'Hasidut, you should wear both as a what? As an insurance policy. Just in case Rabbeinu Tam is correct. So you wear Rabbeinu Tam, you hedge. On such a big mitzvah like tefillin, you don't want to go up to Shamayim after 120 years and they'll tell you, you never wore tefillin in your life. What do you mean? Rabbeinu Tam was right. So therefore we wear both. Now, Shulchan Aruch says you should wear both together and you should make a condition. What's the condition? If you hold one is right and one is wrong, how could you wear two tefillin? But to see if you're adding mitzvot. So you certainly make a condition. Borei Olam, the one that's right, I don't know which one is it, only you know. The one that's right, let that be my mitzvah. And the one that's wrong, Ritzuot be'alma. No, it's just straps. I'm just wearing straps. There's room in the head for two tefillin, the Gemara says, and there's room on the arm for two tefillin. Maran writes, if you don't have space on your head for two tefillin, let's say for whatever reason, say the tefillin is big, so wear them separately. Put on Rashi first, and then put on the Rabbeinu Tam. And that's the way the Pashtanim understood. So according to that opinion, since I don't know which one is right, they're equal. One is right, one is wrong, one is wrong, one is right. So therefore, according to that, I cannot put my tefillin of Rabbeinu Tam in Rashi. Why? Because maybe Rashi is right, and maybe Rabbeinu Tam is wrong. And now I'm putting Hol in Kodesh. So therefore, it works both ways according to the Pashtanim. For sure, I cannot put Rashi. For sure, I cannot put my Rashi in Rabbeinu Tam. But the Hadush is even my Rabbeinu Tam, I cannot put in the Kurach of the Rashi. Because if the Rabbeinu Tam is wrong and Rashi is right, what am I doing? I'm putting something that's nothing, that's lower, into my and vice versa. Then comes the Ben Ish Chai. The Ben Ish Chai in Od Yosef Chai, he comes from the Rabbeinu Ari, and he says, listen, all this was very good until Rabbeinu Ari heard from Eliyahu HaNavi that the mahloket of Rabbeinu Tam and Rashi is not like a regular mahloket, where one is right and one is wrong. Eli says both are right. Elu ve'elu devrei Elohim hayim. And he says, and that's what the Gemara means when it says there's a place on the head for two tefillin. What do I need to know that for? Who's wearing two tefillin? And the explanation is because that's the way you have to wear two tefillin. You have to wear that. We have to wear Rashi and the not misafik. That means, according to the Ben Ish Chai, if you're wearing just Rashi, you're doing half the mitzvah. I don't know if you're doing anything. You're doing half the mitzvah. Tefillin means two tefillin. That's what it means. It's a half and a half equals a whole. That's why they wear two tefillin together, and you don't have to make a condition. The one that's right, the one that's wrong, everything is right. The Rabbeinu Tam is right, and Rashi is right. And he says, that's the way the mitzvah was given. He says, Moshe Rabbeinu wore two tefillin. And okay. Abocher Yivhar. I'm not convincing you. I don't make a commission if you wear two tefillin, if you want tefillin. That's not my argument this morning, Rabotai. Aseh lecha rav, nistalek min hasafek. However, according to the Ben Ish Chai, they're both right. The Rabbeinu Tam is just higher. So therefore, according to Ben Ish Chai, it's very simple. I would not be allowed to put the benutam in the kuracha of Rashi because the benutam in Rashi I could put because I'm elevating it. However, I cannot put Rashi in the benutam because I'm lowering it. Finish. It's only one way according to the Ben Ish Chai. I cannot take the Tefillin of Rashi, which is lower. I don't want to say it what I'm going to say now, but so you can understand it. According to the Ben Ish Chai, Tefillin of Rashi against the benutam is like money. Can I put money in the kuracha? Of course not. You're lowering it. And if I cannot take Rashi's tefillin and put it in the benutam kuracha, so now why? Because you're lowering it. The benutam kuracha is high. I'm taking Rashi tefillin as high as it is. It's not as high as the kuracha of the tefillin. Okay, that's what we learned yesterday. And only this is talking about and azmeneh v'tzarbe. Now you really have to know what you're doing because if you're wearing two tefillin, so you have to have one for the Rashi, one for the benutam. Most of the people that wear two tefillin, they have two kurachas. They don't put Rashi in one and the benutam in one. They put the shilyad in one, and they put the shilrosh in the other. I'll explain to you. When we take out a tefillin, if we wear two together, so I want to take out all the yads first. I don't want to go into this, take a yad from here and take a yad from here. It's complicated. So we take the yads, we fold them together, we put it in one kuracha, and we take the roshes, we put in a separate kuracha. Or I have a big kuracha for my tefillin. I made it custom made, big, so I could fit all four. On the right side, I put my yads, and on the left side, I put the two roshes. I open it up, my hand goes right over here on the right side, the kuracha, my hand is right next to the yad. I pull them both out. Beautiful. Huh? What I put?
What do you pull out?
The yad.
Yeah.
Which yad?
No, they're together. I wrapped them together.
Oh, you wrapped them.
I wrapped them together. I wrapped them together. Yeah, I wrapped them together. You see, I do it. Most people, I wrap them together, so that it's like a piece. I pull it straight out over there. Beautiful, and then we put them on together. In any event, now we discuss today some details of this halakha of azmen. Now we'll start reading inside. Let's go to halakha number 10. Yemochen. I'm reading it in Hebrew, and I'll explain to you in English. Hazmana oseret et hakis. The hazmana that makes the kis designated after you put your tefillin in it. What's considered hazmana? Afilu b'dibur bilvad. Okay, even if you did it b'dibur, meaning it's verbal. She'amar sheki ze yeh letfilin. That means even though you don't have to pick up the bag. Some people say, no, you got to pick it up. Three tefahim from the. It's not kosher beracha. You don't have to pick it up. Even if it's on the table, even if you don't even see it, it's in the shul. From home, you could say, "Hareni mazmin et akuracha sheli shebebet knesset letfilin." That verbal is enough. Kol sheken im natal akis biyado. Kol sheken. If he picked up the kuracha in his hand, and he said, "Hareze kis tefillin shenachshav hazmana." But again, the hazmana is not enough. So after I picked it up, the Shem tefillin, did I say, something? I don't want to use it for tefillin anymore. Can I change my mind? Absolutely. Hazmana lav milta. I didn't start. Hazak Baruch. I didn't put the tefillin inside. Now I changed my mind. I want to change it from Rashi, or I want to go to the benutam, or I want to use it for money, or I want to use it to put eggs. I want to put bananas in there. Hazmana lav milta. שנחשב הזמנה, ואחר ששר בו, and after you put the tefillin בפועל, יתקדש. יתקדש, becomes קודש. אך אם אחר שהזמינו, קודם שבא לצור בו, תפילין חזר בו מתנאי ראשון. If let's say he retracted before he put the tefillin, ואמר, על מנת לפנותו, שרוצה כעת להשתמש בו באופן זמני, I don't want to use it permanently for the tefillin. I just want to use it temporarily, which temporarily does not make it kodesh. Ated dibur, dibur, no problem. The first dibur was only verbal. A verbal can break a verbal. Therefore, v'rashai l'shanoto l'shtamesh bo divrei chol. Are we clear on this, Rabotai? I'm giving you the case again to make it crystal clear so nobody has any sifekot. I take the tefillin with my hands. Hareni mekadesh et akuracha zot l'shem kedushat tefillin. I want to use it as a tefillin bag, and I have two witnesses. Edim atem ayom. I did it for doing it, and I wrote a contract also. Hareni, I wrote it also. Oh, very nice. You wrote it. You must mean it. At the end of the day, it's verbal. Now all of a sudden, I didn't put the tefillin in there yet. Now I say, so something. What do I do? I don't need it. I want to change my mind. You can change your mind. Since it was only a hazmana and hazmana lav milta, you could back out. Now, once I put my tefillin in there, finished. Now you did a hazmana with a tzarbe, whatever it is, it is.
But what do you put his tefillin in there? And then he goes to a story for a beautiful, nice one.
That's the case. That's the case we're talking about, where he was hazmana, vitzarbe, then he found a better one. Ginizah. That's it. You can't use it for other things. Now you can't go to your wife and say, so I got your pocketbook, but it says tefillin on it. Okay, but don't worry, I got a new one.
It's not gonna water.
That's true. So now we continue. ואם הזמין וייעד את הכיס עבור תפילין שלא בדיבור, אלא במחשבה. Oh, let me get to another case. I didn't make a dibur. What did I do? מחשבה. The pigur. That's what we're learning in Zevachim. The guy had a mahshava. That means what? He's sitting in front of his kuracha. He's thinking. I said, what do you think? I see you have kavanot? What's kavanot? What are you thinking exactly? No. I just made hazmana. What do you mean hazmana? In my thoughts, I said to myself, but I didn't say anything. So the question is a mahshava, a hazmana. So there's a מחלוקת הפוסקים. ולהלכה הקילו בזה. להלכה דלינית. שאין הזמנה במחשבה נחשבת להזמנה. And if you look at the bottom over there in the note at 369, it quotes the Kol Yaakov, which is Kafahim Sofer, Levushe Serad. Even if a person did not verbalize his intentions, some want to say it's considered designated, because the machshava is, Prima Gadim remained undecided on this. The Mishnah Rav brings different opinions that say that the sack is considered designated as long as the person held it in his hands, that he wishes to use it for tefillin, even though he didn't specify it. Fine, we go back and forth. So the Maaseh, it's a question. Okay, now let's go to number 11. Ha'hazmana osiret takis. Udavkin be'et hazmana yal kevat tefillin. Oh. What does hazmana mean? I'm designating it for tefillin. But let's say you didn't buy a tefillin yet. So you don't have tefillin. So you mean to say, hazmana al menat, that I'm going to go to the sofer, for those tefillin don't exist yet. They don't exist, meaning they're not even in my possession. So the question is that a hazmana? Or maybe no, you have to have the tefillin. You have to say, ani mazmin et hakuracha b'shvil ha-tefillin shekaniti, b'shvil ha-tefillin sheyesh li ba'olam. So he says, yes, that's the case. Hazmana ha'oseret. When does hazmana mean something? Udavka in be'eta hazmana hayalo kvar tefillin. He has to have the tefillin somewhere. As hala hazmana. Again, after you put the tefillin in, now it's hazmana v'tzarbe. Avadim asa kish le tefillin. Sheyikneh achar kach. But if you made the hazmana, al menat the tefillin we're going to buy, lo hala bazeh hazmana. Therefore, it's nothing. Therefore, what? Now let's say you bought the tefillin and you put it in the kuracha. That's sarbe velo azmene, because the hazmana doesn't count. And what's the din of sarbe velo azmene? You can change your mind. But you made a hazmana, but you made a hazmana too early. I'll give you the case again. The guy has a kuracha. Not a kuracha, it's a bag. He says, something, I don't want to forget. Hareni, he does a verbal. Hareni magdish et hakuracha azol Hashem tefillin. His wife says, which tefillin? You have tefillin? We don't have tefillin. No. When we go to Israel 3 months from now, Bezat Hashem, I'm going to buy tefillin. But I don't want anybody to use this bag. Hareni mekadish oto me'achshav. Haim ze hazmana? Klum. Okay, now he goes to Israel. He gets the tefillin. He buys them and he puts them in this bag. That's a tzarbe velo azmene, because the azmene didn't count.
What is it, 30 days?
No. You have to have the tefillin in hand. I mean, you bought the tefillin.
So there's a time limit.
Correct, which is, if you have the tefillin in hand, then you could say, this kuracha is for those tefillin. But if you don't have the tefillin, so what do you mean it for Mashiach, for future? Doesn't work like this, not futures. אבל אם עשה כיס לתפילין שיקנה אחר כך לא חלה בזה הזמנה ונחשב כדין צרבה ולא הזמנה ומותר. וכן המזמין את התיק לתפילין בשעה שכבר היו התפילין מונחים בתוכו. Which means, let's say, he bought the teak, meaning either the covers or the kuracha itself, בשעה שכבר היו תפילין מונחים בתוכו. Like we buy it. When we buy when we buy not the kuracha, when we buy the tefillin, they don't give you the teak separately and the tefillin separate. It comes together in here. So it's in there already. So he says, אין בכוח הזמנה זו להתפיסו בקדושה, שצריך לזה מעשה של נטילה ביד. Wow. So if you look at the way he says it here, yes. Likewise, if the person or someone else first places tefillin into the pouch, and only then does he designate it. So that's an interesting case. Before we get to that case, he says, I just want to read inside. Here, if someone designated a pouch for a set of tefillin that's not purchased, no, this is likewise. We have to likewise. Look at page 261, read it in the English, because this is the case we need to get. If the person or someone else first places tefillin into the pouch, and then he was mazmin it. Now, the hazmanah cannot take place after you put the tefillin in. Again, there's a rule like it has to go in order. First, yesh hazmanah. Ve'ahar kach, tzarbe. Let's say the guy did not make hazmanah. He went straight, boom, he puts the tefillin in. And then he says, and then he mazmin. No, out of order. That hazmanah is not going to count if the tefillin already is in the teak. So you have to make the hazmanah beforehand. I'm reading in the English. Likewise, if the person or someone else first places the tefillin into the pouch, and only then designates it to be used permanently for the purpose of the pouch of tefillin, it does not become sanctified. The act of placing the tefillin in the pouch must be what confirms the hazmanah. Hazmanah is the declaration. And then how do you confirm that declaration? By doing an action. But if you did the action first, what are you confirming? Now you're making hazmanah. You're going backwards. You put your undershirt on first, and then you put on, and you put your shirt on, and you put your undershirt over it. It's backwards. You're wearing your clothes upside down. So therefore, the halakha says mazmin ve'ahar kach ma'aseh. Now watch this. There's a big discussion of a katan. This is a question that all the poskim discuss. If a katan makes hazmanah, he's less than bar mitzvah. What's the question? Does the katan have da'at? Exactly. For many halachot, the katan does not have da'at. He doesn't become mature until he's 13. So therefore, someone to say, if the katan came along and said, "Aneni mazmin et hakuracha zeh l'shem kedusha," let's say before his bar mitzvah, his grandmother came along, gave him a kuracha. We'll have to ask that question. I think that's not the right question, because the kurachiyot that the mother knits for the child over there, and it says on the tefilin, that's not hazmanah. In hazmanah gedolah mizu, meaning it's we're talking about till now just bags like they used to use in the olden days. They weren't designated for tefillin. They were piece of cloth. But the tefillin that we have today, where it says on it tefillin shel yad, you go to the store. I mean, they were mazminit for tefillin. What do you think they were mazminit for? Do you have to take your kuracha and say, "Hareni mazminit tefillin shel yad"? Hey, read it. It's katuv tefillin shel yad. So I don't know. Actually, it's the next halakha where we're going to see how do we look at our kurachas that are pre-made. L'shem yachod kudshavet kushchinte. Here we're talking about what? A katan. So katan nechleku b'haronim. It's a ma'loket. There's a pri megadim that wants to say the child has no halachic effect on the property, and therefore has no halachic designation on the tefillin. The Mishnah Berurah disagreed, and he said the child does have. The pri megadim agrees that if the adult designated the sack of tefillin, then the child places it in, it's sanctified. And the hazmanah was by the adult, and the kid put the tefillin in, so he piggybacks on the father's hazmanah. Furthermore, he agrees that if the child places the tefillin in the sack immediately after he declared it, then already it could be. So the different machlokot on a child designating. It's not such a common case, but the next halakha is common. Even if the pouch was fashioned specifically to hold tefillin, such as those manufactured today with the word tefillin specifically embroidered on them. Hazak Baruch. It is still permissible to place money in it. This we're saying, or to use it for some other mundane. Why? Because let's say it's hazmana, lo tzarbe. When I bought the kuracha, it says tefillin. So let's say hazmana, but it's not worse. It's not better than anything else. Some will argue, no, since it says the word tefillin and they made it with kavanah, that's already, even if you didn't put the tefillin in. No, nothing changes. Which means we're not going to say you need a designation. The designation already was done by the factory. No problem. That will give you. Or your grandmother that made the tefillin, she knitted it for 2 years. You're going to tell her, no, it's not a hazmana. But it's not enough. Now your grandmother gives you bar mitzvah boy the tefillin. It says tefillin sheyad, and has all the colors of the bar mitzvah, and has all the scheme and all that stuff over there. The kid takes the kuracha, and he's not getting bar mitzvah for a couple of months. And he said, you know what? This is a great teak over here. He puts his baseball in it. For the baseball
card.
Yeah, baseball cards with the baseball. And he's going to the baseball game with it. His grandmother says, how's the kuracha I gave you? Oh, grandma, you don't, they love it. The boys love it. The boys, yeah. It fits my cards, the baseball. I put chewing gum also in there. And I put my cell phone. I put, all the other things, all the other mundane things. This is kuracha, kodesh. It's not kodesh. Azmene. Aber lo tzarbe. Now, once on the day of bar mitzvah, he takes out the baseball, he takes out the cards, the chewing gum, all the candies. Now he puts the tefillin once. Azmene betzarbe. That's it. Now he cannot use it for his baseball anymore. So that's the hadush is that you shouldn't think that if it's made for the purpose of tefillin, it becomes kodesh. No, it doesn't. It still follows the same rules. You have to make hazmana and you have to put the tefillin in. And that's what he says. Even if the pouch was fashioned specifically to hold tefillin, such as those that are manufactured today or they're woven today, it is still permissible to place money in it or to use it for mundane purpose until they put the tefillin. The act of embroidering the word tefillin on the kuracha is nothing more than a verbal declaration. And we know that a verbal declaration can be undone. You would have thought, now, Rabbi, this is the tefillin. And the guy in the store, there's a big sign, tefillin. It doesn't matter. Now, if someone fashioned a kuracha specifically for tefillin, and then before he placed tefillin that he does not wish it to be permanently designated for tefillin, it is still becomes sanctified when he places the tefillin in it. And it is forbidden to ever use it for a mundane purpose because he had already permanently designated it for tefillin through an action. And actions cannot be canceled by a single statement. Now, what is this paragraph saying? This paragraph is saying something else. What? He says, so now you made the keys for the tefillin. This sounds like the grandmother case. This sounds like you made the keys for tefillin, the shem tefillin. Now you want to put the tefillin in there. Fine. Amar shenotem bo tefillin al dat lefanoto. Now when you're putting the tefillin in there, which makes it confirmed, you say, I want to put it in there with intention that if I want to change my mind, I can change my mind. See what he's doing? He wants to make a stipulation. He made the kuracha l'shem tefillin. Azmene, not enough. What does he do when he puts the tefillin in there? I'm putting it in, but Rabotai, I want to leave it open. I want to my options open. So he leaves himself an exit strategy that if I want to change my mind, so we learned yesterday what? You can make stipulations. However, over here, no. But the question is why? So if you look at the note on the bottom, although the Aronim rule that if someone designated a sack to be used as tefillin but changed his mind before he ever used it for tefillin, he may be used it for any purpose, as explained above in Halakha 10. This applies to an ordinary sack. If the sack was fashioned specially to be used for tefillin, such as the kuracha of today, then once it is used for tefillin, it can no longer be used for any purpose. The fact that he places tefillin, the kuracha, that has the word tefillin embroidered, automatically sanctifies it despite his intention. That's what I do now. Normally, if I have a regular bag, doesn't say tefillin on it. Azmene, tzarbe. And as I put the tefillin, I make a condition. I don't want to use it permanently. I want to change my mind maybe, so I left it open. That's okay. Then I could change my mind, take the tefillin, and put money in it because I did it stipulation. However, you can't stipulate on a kuracha that says tefillin on it. That's what it is. So what? And now, as long as I didn't sod it, I could use it for bananas. But once I put the tefillin in, it's over. And even if when I put the tefillin in, I said, no, I'm only doing, no. Once you put the tefillin in a bag that has the word tefillin on it, it's made specifically for that purpose, there's no room for future stipulation. Therefore, he says, despite his intention, even though you don't want it to be permanently sanctified. So therefore, those are some of the rules. For today, it's not so common these cases because today we have a kuracha, and today nobody's using it for bananas or baseballs. The question we're going to have to see in the future is for tzedakah. Put money in the kuracha. Or you have a guy puts in, not in the tefillin bag, but what about in the tefillin bag, you want to put a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
The mirror. Well, the mirror is for the tefillin, but the mirror is a mirror. Mirror is whole. So we have to see these questions. Can I put a mirror in the tefillin bag? Or can I put, let's say, some people have in the kuracha, in the bigger kuracha, let's say, right, the tzedakah pouch, or to have a pen for the tefillin to make it black, or that junk, that stuff comes up, they keep their glasses in the kuracha, or they keep some snuff, whatever it is. Now, we're not talking about that you're putting it in the tefillin bag. We have to discuss now in the talet bag, which is the bigger bag. That maybe has a little more leniency because it doesn't have the kiddusha of the tefillin. Okay, that's a bag that there's a sidur in there, and you have ketoret, and you have a lot of other items over there. So there might be a little more flexibility on the outer bag. But on the inner bag, as far as we know, once you buy a bag for tefillin, which you all have, all our bags were made for tefillin. Once you put the tefillin in there, game over. So you'll never be able to change it. And even if you know, but I stipulated, your stipulation is not a stipulation. I once, when I got my two tefillin, a big rabbi gave me his grandfather's or great-grandfather's kuracha from Baghdad. And the kuracha that he has from Baghdad is not, it doesn't say tefillin on it. It's a satin, beautiful, broidered, but it's not made, I'm sure that thing was not made for tefillin. It was made for a pouch, and they used it. So in cases like that, then you could start azmene, not azmene. But in something that's made specifically, there is no question. Okay, but I will stop over here. Tomorrow we'll continue, and we'll get into some of the questions that we said over here. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen.